what is your strategy? What would you advise investors to do in this time of uncertainty and volatility? What would be the ideal strategy according to you for investors to follow?
Well, in this context of heightened uncertainty and volatility, the investment strategy is very important. I will answer this question of yours with two ideas, two simple ideas. One, what investors should not do, and second, what investors should do. I will make it as simple as possible. Number one, it is very important that investors should not panic and get out of the market. Because one thing that we have to learn from market experience is that you can never time the market. And markets have an uncanny ability to surprise. The sharp rise in the market can happen at the most unexpected time. Even during this war, we had 2 days during which Sensex went up by more than 1,500 points. So, on some good news, there can be sharp, upturn in the market. I will give some very important data which investors should keep in mind. Take the last 20 years of Nifty. During the last 20 years, Nifty has delivered 13.5% CAGR returns. But during this 20 years, if you lost out on 22 best days, almost 1 day a year, 22 best days in the last 20 years, your earnings declined sharply from 13.5% to just 7.6%. Right? So if you don't remain invested, if you sell and get out of the market, if you redeem your mutual fund investments and get out of the market, you can't participate in this sharp upturn in the market that happens at a totally unexpected period of time. I gave you this data on the Nifty. Actually, the Sensex data is far more revealing. Sensex during the last 46 years, if you take 1979-80, the base year, last 46 years, the return from Sensex is around 15% CAGR. There will be small differences whether you take the total return index-based return or including the dividend. Let us say 15%, more than 15%. 15% CAGR for 46 years is very good return. But if an investor had missed out on 50 best days in these 46 years, almost 1 day in 1 year, the return will become negative. 46-year return from 15% CAGR will slightly turn negative, almost zero. So if you lose out on one best day in 1 year during the last 46 years, you get nothing.
Your whole portfolio.
Everything is gone. Whereas 46 years CAGR of 16 or 15.5% would have multiplied your wealth many times. This is hugely important. That is why all experts say remain invested in the market. Because suddenly a sharp upturn in the market. One more data, because many people do not know that. On May 18th, 2009, when a totally unexpected election results came, and the UPA under Manmohan Singh was voted back to power without the support of the left. That was very important. 1 day, the market went up by 18.5%. 2 circuits, upper circuits at the index level. So a person who was not in the market has sold and lost 18.5% in a single day. These are the important things which investors should understand. So my first advice to investors is not to panic, remain invested, don't redeem and get out. And second is what investors should be doing. Investors should be, under circumstances like this, going by previous experiences, continuing with their systematic investment plans. This is the most important message that we would like to send out. Actually, I did a video at the beginning of March, after the war broke out, showing in detail the returns from SIPs in large caps, mid caps, flexi caps, small caps, balance advantage funds. All this SIP returns during the last 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. 5-year returns and 10-year returns are impressive, right? So even an investor, if you take the present context, right, after this war and the correction in the market, 6-year returns, I'm talking about 6-year returns after the COVID crash. A person who invested every month in systematic investment plans, there are many mutual funds which have delivered 12%. I think more than 18 mutual funds schemes have delivered, equity schemes have delivered 12% returns during the last 6 years. So it is very important that investors should be continuing with their SIPs, particularly when the market is in a correction phase. With the same amount of SIP, you will get more units because the prices of stocks have come down. These are the two ingredients which I would say should be the basis of any sensible investment strategy.
So you've always been talking about time in the market rather than timing, and
Yes.
of course SIP. So just to summarize it, basically all this volatility will be there, but then from what you said, of course, our long-term growth fundamentals are still intact, and of course, an investor should choose to take advantage of that over the long term, especially through the SIP route.
This is the experience from the market.
Right.
Last 46 years of Sensex experience. It is impossible to time the market.
Right.
Therefore, spending time in the market is the best strategy.
Right. So again, just to talk specifically about the markets, where are these sectors, or which sectors do you see in the future? I mean, in the future, in the sense, in the next couple of years, which can take part in this growth? Because we've all seen defense was always a theme, let's say, in the last 2 years. But then in the middle, there was talks about overvaluation in the sector, and then it died on. But then the war has again lifted the defense industry spirit. So do you see any other industries that can take advantage of the post-war scenario?
Well, post-war and when the market rebounds, the sectors which have been beaten down in this more than 10% correction after the war, those sectors which have been beaten down disproportionately, like financial services, will be bouncing back smartly. I would put the financial services sector on top because stocks are available cheap. Even now, our Nifty is trading, a Nifty PE, I think, is around 19.8, 19.9. So it's fair valuations, but not yet cheap valuations. But then, if you look at the valuations of financial services, particularly the leading banks, the valuations are very attractive. The reason why the valuations have become very cheap is that FIIs have been dumping these stocks. For example, if you take the total assets under custody, AUC, of FIIs, some 32% of the assets under custody is financial services. So if they want to sell and take the money out, they will be selling these most liquid stocks. If you want to sell $1 billion, it is easy. So these stocks have corrected and their valuations are very attractive. So you talked about a 2-year time horizon. A person with 2-year time horizon can blindly buy this. Right? Because I think this is a great opportunity. Then there is the other segment. Automobiles is one segment which I believe has tremendous potential for many years to come. Because now the aspirations of Indian middle class have gone up drastically. Formerly, when we were a poor economy, it was roti, kapda or makan.
Right.
Then it became roti, kapda or makan or mobile, with 95% of the people having mobile. Now it is roti, kapda, makan, mobile or gadi, right? So everyone wants a vehicle, and a lot of vehicles are available. And after the GST cuts and the low interest rate regime that we have after the monetary stimulus by the RBI, this segment is doing well. Even now, the demand conditions for automobiles. So automobiles and auto ancillaries. There are segments in automobiles where we are even big exporters. And the manufacturing is one area which is going to grow, particularly when our services industry growth slightly slackens because of the anthropic shock, AI shock. Manufacturing is going to witness a boom. So that will be the second category. Third, defense. Defense is going to be a major focus area of all governments worldwide. Worldwide, there will be a priority. Even countries like Germany, Japan are looking to increase their defense expenditure. Actually, Poland has been thinking about selling gold to spend more money on defense. And that is why gold prices have come down, because some central banks are selling. I'll come to that later if you have a question on that. So defense continues to be an attractive theme, and there are many Indian companies which are doing well in that area. Then we have pharmaceuticals, evergreen. India has that cost advantage. That segment is there. Then there are the capital market related stocks, stock exchanges, depositories, wealth management companies, stock
So once the
brokers.
valuations are attractive, I think almost all sectors should.
Yes.
be doing
Valuations. You
Right.
can look at the valuations and take a call on all
Leverage
this.
is also an important issue, especially in this scenario. He has
Leverage,
taken on
yes,
because-
leverage.
yeah.
More than that, that is an important thing. But then companies are not actually. Indian corporate sector is least leveraged now.
Okay.
Even the
So that
government
shouldn't be too much of a concern.
Yes,
for them.
yes.
Now you mentioned gold. That is something that I wanted to come back.
Yes.
I think a lot of people started entering gold, and of course silver. Silver was the surprise package of 2025. A lot of people entered, say it would be an offset to volatility, but then that has not been the case.
The
You know,
reverse
it has
has
been
been
the reverse has been.
proved
So,
true.
what are your thoughts? What would be your advice to those investors who are holding, let's say, gold and silver at the peaks? What would your advice be? To
At
them?
the beginning of this year in January, when we did our video on the what we expect in calendar year 2026, we were not very bullish on gold. We said you can earmark 5 to 10% on gold, but don't put more money in gold, because you will not get as much returns from gold that you got in 2025 and also in 2024, because during these 2 years gold sparkled because central banks were buying gold.
Right.
Now what happened during this last 1 month, in March, central banks which bought gold have turned sellers.
Okay.
Russian central bank, Turkish central bank, for different reasons. Russian central bank for financing the war. Turkish central bank for defending the Turkish currency lira.
Oh, okay.
Right? And other central banks like Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, all of them have turned sellers. So profit booking is something which even central banks can do. So when you have 65% appreciation, profit booking will be a good idea. And that is what brought the gold down. Actually, the impact of the gold crash in India is much lower because of the currency depreciation.
Right.
Actually, gold has corrected. If you talk about the international price of gold, it touched $5,600 a troy ounce. Today on 31st of March morning, it was 4,550. So 20% correction.
Right.
In silver, it is almost close to 50%. It was real madness. It was speculative. I have actually warned against buying excessive quantity of silver because it was a pure speculative trade. A lot of people were getting into that ETF investment in silver and all that. So silver touched a high of 121. I think this morning it is around 61, 62, almost 50%.
Right.
So people who ran after silver ETFs have burned their fingers very badly. So gold, expect modest returns. Of course, central banks like Chinese central banks are buying gold, they will buy more. So if possibility of further steep correction may be limited, but then the exposure to gold should be limited to, let us say, 5-10%, not more than that.
Investing in many people's mind is supposed to be a very costly affair, right? People don't understand that it is very easy, very simple to start off your investments, especially you were mentioning about SIPs, systematic investment plans, wherein you can start off with a small amount also. So, would you advise new investors to enter in the current market scenario? And also, instead of an SIP, a lump sum investment, would you suggest that in the current scenario?
Good question. An SIP can be started at any point of time, whether the market is at high valuations or at fair valuations or at low valuations. At low valuations, particularly, you can top up your SIPs.
Right.
For SIPs, any day is a good day. You need not bother about the time at all.
Right.
But for lump sum investments, you have to look at valuations, right? In the present context, valuations are fair, and there is a very good probability of the market bouncing back once the geopolitical tensions are over. Therefore, in the present context, you talked about an investor who wants to invest lump sum. That depends on that investor's risk appetite and time horizon. If that investor has an investment time horizon of minimum 3 years, and if that person has a reasonably good risk appetite, I would say this is the time for a lump sum investment.
Same
also.
for averaging out your investments? So,
Yes, that also can be done. Averaging out of investments also can be done. SIPs, again, any time is the best time.
Right.
Continue with your SIPs, never stop it. For lump sum investment, for an investor with a good risk appetite.
Or should it be STPs, for example? You can, or is it
STP is fine. STP is fine. Systematic transfer plan
plans?
makes a lot of sense.
If you're not too aggressive, if you're not.
But then,
don't want to-
if things get normalized, and let us say there is a very, very quick 5 or 6% rally in the market, if you are investing through STP, that benefit will not be available.
Right.
But then, if you are making a lump sum investment, that benefit will be available. So, as you said, investment is not as complex as many people think.
Yeah.
It is very simple. You should invest with discipline. Discipline is the key word there. Disciplined investment, systematic investment, believe in the India growth story for the long run, continue with investment. I'm sure you will laugh all the way to the bank, let us say 2 years from now, 3 years from now.
Right, sir. So yes, as we enter FY 27, what would be your final words for our viewers watching this session?
Final words, I would repeat what I said. Investment is not very complex. It is simple. Keep it simple. If you have the expertise to invest directly in stocks, you can do that. If you don't have the expertise or time to invest directly in stocks, a simple diversified mutual fund will be the best solution. Ideal investment strategy can be an investment strategy of systematic investment plan for the long term. But in the present context, people with long-term investment horizon and investment risk appetite can think about lump sum investment.
Thank you, Dr. V.K Vijayakumar, for this extremely insightful session. To all our viewers, yes, it has been volatile, it has been painful, it has been uncomfortable for a lot of our investors. But then this is where long-term wealth is built. Stay disciplined, like Dr. V.K was saying, stay patient, and thank you very much for joining us for this session of Geojit Spotlight. Thank you.
Thank you, and best wishes.